Toyota, Honda, and Nissan have had the dominant players in the compact crossover class for years now. But one rival that's been increasingly mounting a challenge is the Subaru Forester. Thanks to Subaru's relentless focus on safety and functionality, plus a full redesign this year, it means that more people than ever are cross-shopping these two. So for this comparison, we are taking fully loaded examples of each of these all-new crossovers to see who has made the better all-around family vehicle. So to get things going here, let's establish the pricing and option levels of these two. Starting with the all-new Forester, Subaru continues to offer more value-oriented pricing than much of the competition. It can start as low as $24,295, but this top-of-the-line touring trim begins exactly 10 grand higher than that. Of course, as with all Subarus, all-wheel drive is included at no extra charge, but we still have a handful of minor options thrown in. With those and the $995 delivery charge, brings the total to $36,511. The all-new RAV4, on the other hand, occupies one of the more aggressive pricing schemes in the segment. It starts at $25,500 for a front-wheel drive LE, but this limited with all-wheel drive starts out at $34,900. However, there are still quite a few options available, of which we have about half of them. The biggest one is the premium audio and navigation package, but we also have the all-weather mats and the optional white, which all together with the destination charge make the price $37,732. All told, that places the price difference between these two at a little over $1,200. To compensate for this, we will award 1 point per $1,000 of difference, and start the Forester off with 1. So starting out with what's under the hoods, the two have some similarities, but are mostly distinctly different. Both forego any kind of turbocharging and stick with traditional 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engines, making 182 horsepower in the Forester and 203 horsepower in the RAV4. The Toyota also has the torque advantage as well. However, for the transmissions, they diverge, with the Toyota having an 8-speed automatic, while Subaru chose a CVT with 7 simulated gear changes. As equipped, both put their power down with some of the most advanced all-wheel drive systems in the class, which are torque vectoring and have dedicated drive modes for certain harsh and off-road situations. Now, as far as actually driving them on the road, the two have some distinct differences. Starting from initial acceleration, the RAV4 definitely feels quicker and more responsive, from both the power advantage and the traditional automatic transmission. However, on the flip side, the engine is much louder than most vehicles in the class, the Forester included. Both models feel surprisingly nimble, and the steering setups are nicely weighted. The Subaru does have the advantage in ride quality, however, with a very comfortable ride. Lastly, for fuel economy, the Forester is the class leader against all-wheel drive offerings, achieving 26 city, 33 highway, 29 combined, compared to the RAV4's 28 combined. However, since that is less than a 5% difference, we won't award any points. But anyways, with that covered, let's move on to the all-new exterior designs. Now, we try to keep things as objective as possible with these comparisons, but we'll still take a minute to compare the overall styling. Beginning with the all-new RAV4, it looks completely different from the outgoing model. This new generation has a more masculine and sculpted front, complete with the limited special gray metallic finish. Now, the Forester is totally the opposite, since its full redesign looks extremely similar to the outgoing model. Compared to the RAV, it has a more conservative design, but it does still have some elements to hint at its off-road prowess. As far as the lighting, both have full LED headlights with incandescent turn signals, and then fog lights at the bottom, which are LED on the Forester only. Around back, again, both look more rugged than what is typical for the class. They have rear silver accents, partially LED taillights, and exposed exhaust outlets. Overall, the RAV4 is definitely the more stylish of the two to my eyes. But at the same time, the LED fog lights and functional roof rails on the Forester should be recognized. So we'll give a half point to each. Now as far as all the other exterior stuff, starting up front, they both have nearly identical ground clearance numbers of 8.6 and 8.7 inches. Moving to the wheels, you'll find 18-inch contrast alloys on the Subaru, but 19-inch dark chrome finished alloys on the Toyota. For the mirrors, they both have heating and power adjustment, but only the Forester can have auto-dimming abilities. Now one of the most important things about these two family vehicles is that they are extremely safe no matter which trim you choose. Standard on every trim of both models are full-speed adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection. Each also have some specific features, with the RAV4 having lane trace assist and road sign recognition, and the Forester having rear automatic braking. The two crossovers also share 3-year 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranties, and 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranties, but only the Toyota gives you 2 years of complimentary maintenance. And the last thing to look at on the outside are the fuel ranges. The Forester has a 16.6 gallon tank, and the RAV4 14.5 gallons. So considering that the Subaru already is more efficient, it has about a 15% better range at 481 miles versus 406. Well, that's it for the outside, but now let's get to the more important cabins where your families will be spending all their time. Getting inside the interior, both crossovers have smart entry with nice key fobs. Both also have subscription-based remote start via their brand's respective apps. Moving into the interiors, both these products have substantially more upscale interiors compared to the previous generations. As you can tell, they are black, but there are several other color options available. Checking out the seats themselves, they are both 8-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support, and both also have 2-person memory seating and heating. However, one difference is that the Forester uses real leather, which both looks and feels more expensive compared to the leatherette on the RAV4. Now once inside the cabins, like I already said, these two have really upped the luxury factor compared to the old models. Starting with the Forester, you have a soft touch plastic across the upper parts with stitching, and then in the middle you have a perforated leather material. Even the lower areas are also covered in the same leatherette, and everything fits together extremely well. Switching to the Toyota, it also has a soft touch material across the entire dashboard, and substantial use of leatherette in the middle. Its build quality feels very solid, but it is missing the nice leather trim along the bottom areas. For the door trims, the Subaru also has the advantage, since it uses higher quality materials and a more attractive stitching design. So overall, the Subaru will come away with the materials point. As one would expect, the top-end models do have push-button start. When you push it, you'll see an 8-inch display boot up on both. Now as far as the gauges, they are very different. Toyota has gone with a mostly digital setup, and Subaru mostly analog. However, the Forester still gives you access to the same kind of information, since it has an extra 6-inch helper display located on the dash. Coming back to the steering wheels, both are leather wrapped and manual tilt and telescoping. On the Touring Forester it is heated, but you would require an additional $1,000 weather package for the RAV4 to have it. Now moving on to one of the most important interior aspects, let's talk about storage. Both have similar sized center consoles with felt lining, and large storage areas up in the front. But the reason the RAV4 takes the point here is its innovative storage shelf, which gives the driver and passenger another big place to stick loose items. Moving on, both models have traditional shifters with manual shifting, however only the Forester has paddles. Going into reverse, both have multi-angle backup cameras with trajectory and parking sensors. It is worth mentioning, like several other features, the already more expensive RAV4 does have an optional 360-degree bird's eye camera available via the $1,600 advanced technology package. Next up, we have the dual-zone automatic climate control systems. There's not much different about them, since both have simple and ergonomically sound layouts. Anyways, now let's go ahead and sample the audio system. While the RAV4 system technically has more speakers, the Harman Kardon has the richer sound. And now that brings us up to the infotainment systems. Starting with the Forester, you have the latest version of the Starlink system, which is very responsive and easy to use. You also have integrated navigation, as well as both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The Entune 3.0 system is the latest and greatest from Toyota, and it works in a similar way to Starlink. It also has integrated navigation and Apple CarPlay, but it is missing Android Auto. However, counteracting that is the fact that it offers in-car Wi-Fi, which is something the Subaru is missing. So overall, it's a draw. Both models have auto-dimming rearview mirrors, except that Toyota has now included a rear camera mirror that cuts out all the obstructions. And the last things up front are the moonroofs, where the Forester has a giant panoramic one, and the RAV4 a regular sized one, unless you option the pano roof on. Heading to the rear seats, both of these models are undisputably spacious, but the Forester does have the slight advantage. Its legroom is 39.4 inches compared to 38.3 in the RAV4, which is less than a 5% difference, and the same thing applies for the headroom as well. As far as features in the back, the Forester does have the advantage. Both have rear vents and 2 smart charging USB ports, but without more options, the RAV4 does not have heated rear seats. Moving out back, both have power tailgates. Once the gates open up, the Toyota has more space with the seats up, but as far as maximum space, the Forester has it beat. The actual measurements are 37.5 cubic feet in the RAV4 versus 35.4 cubic feet. And with everything folded down, 69.8 cubic feet in the RAV4 and 76 cubic feet in the Forester. Well guys, that's it for this extremely close comparison. The big takeaway here is that when priced equivalently, the Forester has more equipment for the money. However, if you prefer the RAV4, you can still get those features if you're willing to spend a bit more dough. But overall, there's certainly a good reason why the Forester is finding itself on the shopping list of more and more American families. Thanks for joining us on this Car Confections comparison. And be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. Take care.